of these situations had one thing in common, and it was that I was staying connected to people or spaces or behaviors that really weren't healthy for me. And so sometimes you need to look at it like it's not about whether or not you want to go back. It's not like you're setting this boundary, creating this distance because you might want to go back. For me, it was because I needed to create a boundary so that I could fully let go. I needed to really detox, and the boundary allowed me to do that.
This is the Joy Act, where finding joy beyond divorce begins with your understanding that the depth of your heartache shows the depth of your capacity for joy. I'm Dr. Lisa Summerour, and together we'll use accountability, alignment, communication, and trust to transform your journey. It's time to step into the Joy Act.
Good day, good people. Dr. Lisa here. I am your accredited breakup and divorce coach, and this is the Joy Act. This podcast is here to support women as they are healing and transforming as a result of a breakup or divorce. Now, you could be in the middle of one, you could be on the brink of one, or maybe your breakup or divorce has already happened and you realize that you need more support than you expected. You didn't expect for it to hit you this hard. It's been difficult for you the entire time and you didn't even know there was support out here for you. So that is why I'm here. And each week I lean into my ACT framework, and it's here to support you as you reset and reclaim and really reimagine what your life is going to look like moving forward. I like to say it's not about preparing you for the next act or the fourth quarter of your life. It's preparing you to live the joy act of your life. And today we're going to be talking about something that comes up for, I would say, almost everybody. Almost everybody that is getting out of a relationship or has ended a relationship, they go through a period of setting boundaries with their ex. And it's important and it's often necessary. And sometimes, surprisingly, it is a huge step on the path to your healing. Before we jump into this episode, let me introduce you to something else too. My masterclass, 4 Essential Steps to Creating Joy After a Difficult Divorce. And again, if you've gone through a breakup, you can also jump in on this as well. But if you've been feeling stuck, you're kind of in that in-between space where you're no longer in the relationship, you haven't quite found your way, this masterclass is your invitation to the clarity that you are looking for. And you can find that at Dr.Lisa. That's Dr.Lisa.life/joy beyond divorce. If you didn't catch it, don't worry. It's going to be in the notes underneath this episode. So why boundaries matter after a breakup. I want to share a personal story of my own, and it actually combines 2 things. This is about a relationship that ended and a job that I left, a company that I had been partnering with that I left after many years. Both of these situations had one thing in common, and it was that I was staying connected to people or spaces or behaviors that really weren't healthy for me. And so sometimes you need to look at it like it's not about whether or not you want to go back. It's not like you're setting this boundary, creating this distance because you might want to go back. For me, it was because I needed to create a boundary so that I could fully let go. I needed to really detox, and the boundary allowed me to do that. Funny thing, about boundary setting. A lot of people, I think when they hear it, they feel like this is going to be restrictive, it's going to be problematic. And while it may be uncomfortable at first because it doesn't feel, you're not used to it, and it may be problematic for other people, but you're not setting them for them to be happy. You're setting them for you to be healthy, right? And the crazy thing that I found is once you set a boundary, you actually will feel freer. It actually is a step on the path to you creating freedom for yourself, because you create a safe and a healthy space where you can move around freely and unencumbered, and you can be all of who you were designed to be in this space that you created because you got healthy boundaries set up. So boundaries gave me the quiet that I needed to hear myself again. Because if you stay connected to the noise that was creating the discomfort, all of the issues, if you stay connected to that, it's going to take you longer in many instances. It's going to take you longer to really heal. So setting boundaries is not about being mean. It's not to punish anybody. It's about being honest with what you need to heal. That's what the boundaries are for. This is a look at it as a declaration of self-respect and an invitation for your next chapter to begin. I want you to step into this joy act of your life without the noise, right? Now, some of the struggles, some of the boundary setting struggles with exes, we got to be really honest with ourselves. Sometimes there are complications. You're not able to make a clean cut and sever all ties and all that. Some of you are dealing with co-parenting. Some of you are dealing with colleagues. Your ex is also a coworker. And so there are other things that happen, and your families could be intertwined. So there are other things that can create challenges. That doesn't make it impossible. You just have to navigate things a little bit differently. Because if you've got to deal with picking up and dropping off kids, or the weekend schedule, or who's got which child for the holiday, somebody that you used to have what we're going to call an emotional entanglement with, there are going to be some complications. And maybe you're still sharing bills. Maybe you still have a property that needs to be taken care of. You could still be living in the same house with them. And you're trying to separate lives that were once completely blended. Or maybe you have an ex who just keeps sending you those just checking on you, I'm just checking in to see how you're doing messages, right? So you have all of that going on, and we can't forget about the outside noise. You have friends and family or people saying, just be the bigger person. There's no reason you guys can't stay connected, or you two should be able to talk now. Don't make this harder than it has to be. Don't be the difficult one. Look, I want to be clear. You do not owe your ex unlimited access to your emotional bandwidth. You don't. You don't owe your ex unlimited access to your emotional bandwidth. Boundaries are not about what people think. It's not about what they think. They're about what you need. Boundaries are not about what other people think. Boundaries are about what you need. The role of communication in setting boundaries is huge. In my ACT framework, accountability, alignment, communication, and trust, when we're talking about boundaries, communication is going to be a huge one. If you're setting them, you're already taking accountability. But you really need to get clear with the communication. In the context, communication is about being clear, concise, and confident. You don't have to apologize. You also don't have to yell, and you don't have to explain absolutely everything, but you do need to speak your truth with certainty. And you can do it unapologetically, as I was saying. Some examples. I'm going to give you some language here. Use it the way it works for you. Change the verbiage so it sounds like you, right? But things like, I'm not available for emotional conversations anymore. And sometimes it might come out like, I'm not having these conversations with you anymore. So I'm giving you some language that you can use, and you can be confident and unapologetic and very clear and concise. And you can still be cordial. In one of my bonus programs, I talk about cordial co-parenting. I'm not available for emotional conversations anymore. Or let's keep our communication focused on co-parenting logistics only. If it's not related to our child and things related to our child, I don't want to get into these conversations with you. A third one is, I'm choosing not to engage in personal check-ins right now. Now, are you going to get some rebuttal? Very likely, because this may be new to them. The thing with boundaries is you may have had some early in the relationship, and depending on how your relationship was going, your boundaries may have eroded. They may have the building blocks that created your boundary wall. The blocks may have been just getting taken out periodically, and now your wall has all but crumbled. And so you may be at a place where you need to rebuild your boundaries, okay? And then some of them may be brand new. And it might feel awkward. There may be some anxiety around this, but trust me, the clarity will build your confidence. And the more consistent you are, the easier this becomes. So let's talk about some actionable things that you can do this week to reinforce your boundaries or establish some with your ex. Think of one place right now where lines are blurred. You'll know because you probably have some anxiety or some butterflies in the stomach every time this thing comes up. But think of an area where lines are blurred. Ask yourself, what's draining me? What feels like an open door with your ex that really needs to be closed or maybe locked from the inside at this point? And there's so many things. I could give you a laundry list, but it could be anything from You don't want them asking about your dating life, or you don't want to know about theirs. Maybe they're giving you too much information. You don't want to have best friend conversations right now with your ex. What'd you do last weekend? It's anything that has you feeling some sort of anxiety or drained. And nobody gets to tell you what that is or what it should or shouldn't be except you. So once you figure out what that is, I want you to write it out. Write out what this thing is that the lines are a little blurry and you think this could be tightened up a little bit. Say these things out loud so that you can put your own voice to it, right? Is this something that needs to be a text? Is it an email? Is it face-to-face? Is it over the phone? Clients a way to actually process this conversation before they have it so they can feel more prepared on the front end. Talk to somebody you trust about this. If you have a close friend, a family member, somebody that is supportive and they're a confidant and it's just between the two of you, because this accountability will make it a little easier for you. They can kind of check on and go, okay, are you ready to have the conversation? You can practice with them. Afterwards, they can ask you how it went and kind of calm you down, because your anxiety levels might be a little higher after you have this conversation. You might be a little revved, especially if your ex is not in agreement, or they have rebuttal, or they get some sort of emotional, start feeling some kind of way about it. So the world is only going to respect you and your boundaries if you're consistent and you are honoring your boundary. Very often we blame the other person when the culprit is us. Let's say you don't want any calls after 9 o'clock at night because you're in that period where you're getting ready for bed. You have your bed routine, and unless it's an emergency, you're not answering phone calls. Phone rings, but you keep answering the phone. It's not an emergency. You just keep answering the phone after the hour you said you would answer. People are not going to respect your boundary because you're not respecting your boundary. Now, when you absolutely stop answering calls after whatever the hour is, 9 o'clock, 8 o'clock, people may be like, oh, I called you last night. I was in my going to bed routine. And you can check messages if you want to make sure it wasn't an emergency, right? But you don't have to keep answering the call. So whatever it is, whatever boundary it is that you're setting, short of it being an emergency, you need to honor your boundaries if you want other people to honor your boundaries, because their reaction doesn't define the worth of your boundary. You got it? Their reaction doesn't define the worth of your boundary. What defines the worth of your boundary is your peace. Your peace is going to tell you how valuable that boundary is when you no longer have that anxiety, that discomfort, that frustration, whatever it is that was happening before you set the boundary. Think about this. Your boundary is not about you creating drama. I said earlier, it's not about you trying to punish somebody. It's not about you being mean. Make sure that you don't allow somebody to put those titles on you. Oh, you're being mean. You're being difficult. Oh, you're trying to be, blah, 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 new. This is the new you. These are, I like calling these verbal grenades, because they are trying to blow up what you're doing or saying, and it's a distraction. And you need to just stay on point, be concise with what you're saying, clear and unapologetic, and you can do it cordially. You don't have to get angry to set a boundary. I like to say you really never want to be in an angry, emotional state making too many decisions, because it usually doesn't work well, doesn't sit well. Your boundaries are about creating a healthy distance between you and whatever it is that wasn't feeling right for you. It wasn't healthy for you. It was creating discourse for you personally. And you have every right to resolve that. And yes, sometimes it's going to hurt. Sometimes doing what's best for you may be uncomfortable, especially when you're used to being the peacemaker, the one who's so easy to talk to, the one who still cares. And oh, it's so unlike you. Understand that setting boundaries is not mean. Being direct is not mean. Wanting your needs to be met is not mean. Wanting to be heard and respected is not mean. These are things that people say to you when something's happening that they don't like and they don't want to honor. They flip it around and try to make you the bad guy. So be mindful of that, and you don't have to give into it. But trust me, you can care and you can still create space, and you can wish them well and still walk away. Okay, I'm living really much this year in a both and, not a either or. So you can care and still create space. You can wish them well and still walk away. You can love who you were in love with in that last chapter of your life, and you can still close the book. So your joy tip. Every time you protect your peace, you practice joy in real time. Every time you protect your peace, you're practicing joy in real time. Look, if this episode spoke to you, and this was like, this has helped, I really want you to take the next step and take a look at my masterclass, 4 Essential Steps to Creating Joy After a Difficult Divorce. You can find that at dr-lisa.life, dr-lisa.life/joy beyond divorce, or just look in the notes below. And look, before you go, again, if you got anything out of this, or you can think of one person who would benefit from listening to this episode or watching this, please share my podcast and hit that subscribe button. Hit that subscribe button. I'm on a mission the rest of this year to get these numbers up, and I haven't really been asking people to subscribe. And you know what? You ask not, you get not. So I'm asking. Look, you got this, and one thing I want you to do is whatever you do, act in joy. Take care.